Hola clase. Okay, so this is the first time I have attempted to do a video from my phone, so wish me luck here. So today I want to talk about direct objects. Okay, and specifically direct object pronouns. So your direct object, just to kind of recap what it would be in English first, a direct object is something that would typically we would think of as answering the question what or who. And so that's when we look at the verb. So for instance, in English, if we say, I buy the book. Okay, so then we look at the verb, we say, okay, buy. I buy what? So what answers that question is the direct object. Okay, so, but if we think about in English, we don't want to say the book all the time, right? So if you say, I need the book, I want the book, I buy the book, I look for the book, well, eventually we get tired of saying book. So in English, instead of saying book, eventually we're going to replace the book with the word it. So it, in English, is your direct object, pronoun. Okay? So, Spanish, we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to say, compro el libro. All right, if we could do the same thing, compro qué, or I buy what? El libro. All right, so same idea. I don't want to keep saying el libro all day, so I'm going to have to replace it. So then we need our little chart of direct object pronouns. Okay, so forgive the chart because it's done by hand. So we have me, te, lo, la, nos, os, los, and las. All right, so those are your direct object pronouns. Now, typically, the ones that you are the most concerned with are going to be the los and las, because those are the ones that are talking about objects. So for instance, back in our sentence, we're referring to an object, not a person. A direct object, a person can be a direct object. It's just usually when you look at it, it's going to be an object. So in here, then, what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, I want to replace el libro. I don't want to keep saying el libro. So I'm going to come down to my chart, right? So me, of course, would be me, when if you're the direct object, like me. Te would be you. Lo is going to be your masculine singular. So hint, hint here, right? Masculine singular. La is going to be feminine singular. Nos is the us. So if we are the direct object, I guess I should have said, well, us, we. Anyway, os, if vosotros is the direct object. So again, that's your Spain form. And then los or las. So los, if it's masculine and plural, or masculine and feminine. Remember, in Spanish, the masculine takes it. If there's one masculine, it throws the whole thing to masculine. And las is feminine and plural, right? So if you have a group of objects that are all feminine, it would be las. Okay, so let's come back up to the example. So compro el libro. So coming back to my chart, I say, okay, el libro, that's singular and masculine. So I want singular and masculine, so I know it's going to be lo. Okay, so where the tricky part is here is that as English speakers, we like this order, the subject, verb, object order. That's really common. But in Spanish, we're not going to do that. So in Spanish, your direct object pronoun is going to come before your conjugated verb. So that means instead of compro el libro, it would be lo compro. So you really have to, the worst part of this is not that it's so hard to understand, But to me, it's when you're speaking freely, right? You're in the middle of a conversation. You're used to being able to decide what that noun is at the end of the sentence, whether it's masculine or feminine, singular, plural. But now you have to know that before you ever get to your verb. So it leads to conversation mistakes, which are not tragic. So as you're speaking, don't sweat it. And if you listen carefully enough, you'll find native speakers that make mistakes too. We're all human. We all make those mistakes. So, but it just takes that extra practice to remember that it's going to come before the conjugated verb. So just watch for that, be lenient with yourself, right, and practice it. I like to think of this like, so if you like Star Wars and you like Yoda, I love Yoda. I like to think of this as Yoda speak, right? So in my head, I'll actually translate this as it, I buy. Now, for a video, I'm not going to do a Yoda accent. You can just imagine it. But if you can imagine it, I buy, instead of saying I buy it, that's going to help you get it in the right order when you're doing that. And so remember, the whole point is to replace a libro. So a lot of times students will get the lo, but then they're still saying el libro. Well, that defeats the point. The point is to make these sentences shorter and sweeter because we're communicating something that we already know. So going back to that when I talked about earlier, saying if I buy it, I look for it. Well, saying I buy the book, I look for the book, I want the book. Well, I don't want to say the book anymore. We know we're talking about the book. So we're going to replace it with lo. Okay, I'm going to do another example just so you can see if it were with a person. So if you said something like, I see you. Okay, well, in English, this is really, well, even in Spanish, this is already going to be the a pronoun, right? Because instead of saying I see you, I could say your actual name. But we're just jumping straight to the pronouns. So, and I'm going to just jump straight to the actual answer here. So it would be te, if I'm treating you as tú, right? Te veo. So notice your subject of your verb and your object are not matching. If I said me veo, it would mean I see myself. I don't want to say that. I want to say I see you. Okay? So just watch for that. If I were treating you as usted, right? Then it would be la veo for a female and lo veo for a male. So keep an eye on that as well. And then another little note before I conclude this lesson on the direct objects is, so this is if we have just a normal, regular conjugated verb, right? There are instances where we can put it in a different place, but that's not if it's a regular conjugated verb. So for example, if I say, I want to buy the book. So I want to buy the book. Okay, I can do the same thing. Say, I want to buy what? The book. So the book is my direct object. So I'm going to turn that into the it, and into Spanish it would be the lo. So let's do this way. So I would say, quiero comprar el libro. I want to buy the book. Okay, now I want to shorten that. I want to get rid of el libro. So I actually have a choice here. So I can throw it all, I'm going to replace it with lo, right? And I can throw it all the way in the front, or I can put it all the way at the end. So I can say, lo quiero comprar. Or, and there's no change in meaning here, I can say, quiero comprarlo. Now, I have different suggestions for when to use each one, and this is just personal. This, to me, I use in speech all the time because it's faster, it's easier, and it follows the order in English that we like. This one, I might suggest if you want to make sure that you don't forget your direct object pronoun, or later on when we add multiple pronouns at the end. So if we have a direct and indirect, this is the great way to avoid an accent mark. So if you stink at accent marks, you may want to throw it at the beginning. Again, it doesn't need it here, but you'll see in later chapters where we'll need it. And actually, you'll see it in my next example. So let's say we're still talking about the book. Let's say I am buying it. So I can say, estoy comprando el libro. Okay, so same idea. There's my direct object. Now, I cannot split these two up. I can't split estoy and comprando up, just like I couldn't split up quiero and comprar up. I have to keep those together. So I can add it at the end, or I can add it at the beginning. Accent avoidance would be lo estoy comprando. But if I want to put it at the end, I actually do need an accent mark, and it would be estoy comprándolo. Now, for your accent, this one does need an accent, so you can do it two ways. You can just count back 3, 1, 2, 3, and it goes on that third syllable. Or you can just hear comprando, right, where that stress was from the beginning, and you're going to keep the exact same stress. So you want it to match up where it was, so that you're not changing the word. So there it is. That's the direct objects. If you have any questions on it, then just please let me know. I hope it goes well.